Welcome to this extraordinary commemoration of Vietnam Veterans Day 2020. Extraordinary because today's commemoration is pre-recorded and archival. And coming to you from the Shrine of Remembrance, Peter Meehan speaking with this message from R.W. Bob Elworthy AM, President, Vietnam Veterans Association of Australia, Victorian branch. I express the sincere thanks of the members of the Victoria branch of the Vietnam Veterans Association of Australia to the trustees and staff of the Melbourne Shrine of Remembrance for facilitating today's service and providing us with this opportunity to honour our war dead and to salute the living. Vietnam Veterans Day 2020 Tribute by R.W. Bob Elworthy AM, President, Vietnam Veterans Association of Australia, Victorian branch. Despite COVID-19 pandemic restrictions, it was never a consideration to cancel this commemoration on Vietnam Veterans Day. To have done so would break faith with our war dead and those who have since passed on, and make hollow that part of our motto that calls us to honour the dead. Today marks the 54th anniversary of the Battle of Long Tan, regarded along with the Coral and Balmoral battles as one of the finest examples of a defensive battle victory in Australia's military history. Today, we honour all who fought and fell at Long Tan. We also honour all Australian servicemen and women who took part in the Vietnam conflict, their devotion to duty, their courage, loyalty and commitment in battle. And we honour their post-war struggle for recognition and the right to stand as equals with all Australians who have served this nation in war. Let us reflect on Australian operations 50 years ago in 1970, the last of a 5-year period of intensive Australian ground operations during which 54 Australians were killed in action, 422 wounded, and 11 others succumbed to non-battle injury or illness. This was the last year in which 3 Australian battalions would be deployed in Vietnam at the same time, and the commencement of Australia's withdrawal from Vietnam. Operation Hammersley was conducted in February 1970 by the 8th Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment, in an area then known as Min Dam Secret Zone, adjacent to the Long High Mountains, after 9 platoon successfully ambushed and killed a large number of North Vietnam Army troops at the foot of the Long High Mountains. What followed was a battalion-size operation in which the VC D 445 Battalion was severely mauled and forced to evacuate its previously secure bunker systems. The operation was costly, with 11 Australians killed in action and 59 wounded in action. Tragically, as a result of 2 separate mine incidents, 9 members of 8 Battalion Royal Australian Regiment were killed and 40 wounded. It was the nature and size of these combat losses and the mounting casualties of the other battalions that finally proved unpalatable to the Australian government. They amplified protests at home to the war and proved to be the turning point in the Australian commitment to Vietnam. As a consequence, 8 Battalion Royal Australian Regiment was not replaced when it was withdrawn late in 1970. 6 Battalion Royal Australian Regiment and 7 Battalion Royal Australian Regiment, the 2 other battalions operating during 1970, 6 Battalion Royal Australian Regiment suffered 24 killed in action and 148 wounded in action, and 7 Battalion Royal Australian Regiment, 16 killed in action and 89 wounded in action, as they continued the task of pacifying the Phuoc Tuy province, harassing and defeating VC elements in many clashes within the Australian area of operations. On this day, Vietnam Veterans Day, and on all days, may the courage, sacrifice and determination of Vietnam veterans in both wartime and after be acknowledged and respected. They did their duty, and they did it well, and they continue to fight like hell for the living. Lest we forget. Message from the Honourable Daniel Andrews, MP, Premier of Victoria. On behalf of the Victorian Government, I wish to honour the 60,000 men and women who served our nation during the Vietnam War. This Vietnam Veterans Day is unlike any other, and while we're all missing being together at the Shrine of Remembrance, today is no less special. Your sacrifices for our nation and for each other will be remembered today and for generations to come. Of course, your service didn't end with the war. Just as you served our nation then, you continue to serve our nation now. To each and every one of you, thank you. Lest we forget.
In the same year we celebrate 75 years since the end of World War II, we also mark 45 years since the formal end of the Vietnam War, the longest 20th century conflict Australia was involved in. To put that into context, the Battle of Long Tan, now a symbol of bravery, endurance and teamwork, was 9 years earlier. Australia's involvement in the Vietnam War started in 1962 and ended in 1973. In that final year alone, the last of 5 years of intensive combat operations, 54 Australians were killed in action and 422 were wounded. To our shame, in the early 1970s, returning soldiers faced a very different reception to the joyful one our returning World War II veterans met 30 years earlier. The Vietnam War was the most controversial war Australia had ever been involved in. Back then there were no parades, no celebrations and no acknowledgement of the men and women who were sent there by their country to do a job. And so today, and for the past 30 years, particularly on Vietnam Veterans Day, we ensure those who served are recognised. We honour their sacrifice and bravery and thank them. We also invite all Australians to understand their experiences of war. And of all who served so bravely, we will remember them, lest we forget.
Careful, buddy! Halt! Careful, buddy! Stay! Up! Careful, buddy! Back!
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.